Okie dokie. This is gonna be pretty interesting. So what I'm gonna do is make separate videos for this natal chart data case study essay Q&A, and it's in order to help you advance. My goal in this video is to show you as students of astrology, but also practitioners. Okay, so what I'm going to do is use my own birth data and show you guys how to come up with actually understanding someone through their natal chart by asking questions and answering them with rigorous detail. Okay? So for example, I was born February 26th, 2005 at 9:53 a.m. Central Standard in St. Paul, Minnesota, with my ascendant in Taurus for both my Western chart and my Vedic chart, except, as you can see, in my Western chart, it's at the late degrees, and in my Vedic chart, it's actually just at the beginning of Taurus. So, now that we have that information, I want to go over some quantum astrology principles for this first video. So our first question, it has a few different parts in it. So the observer effect in quantum physics suggests that the act of observation collapses probability waves into particles. Similarly, in astrology, the native self-awareness of planetary placements collapses infinite potentialities into manifested reality. Using the native's chart calculations, write a comprehensive essay addressing the following: how the native's Pisces stellium, Sun, Mercury, Venus, Uranus in the 11th house creates a quantum field of infinite creative potential, and how our conscious awareness of this placement collapses it into specific manifestations. 8 marks. B. Analyze the moon in Libra in the 6th house and its square Mars and Capricorn in the 9th house as a quantum entanglement between emotional equilibrium and discipline action. Explain how observing the square allows the native to choose which Explain how observing the square allows the native to choose which probability wave collapses. Relationship harmony, which is Libra, versus ambitious solitude, which is Capricorn, and that's 7 marks. Next, discuss Rahu in Aries, which is in the 12th house, of course retrograde, as a quantum observer from the future. How does the native's future self, age 25, Phoenix relocation, influence her present choices through retrograde nodal energy? Incorporate the concept of retrocausality from quantum mechanics, and that's 5 marks. And then propose a daily quantum observation ritual for the native that uses her Taurus ascendant grounding energy to consciously collapse her Pisces 11th house probability waves into tangible wealth manifestations, including specific times, planetary hours, and mantras. That's 5 marks. Okay? So, how do we answer that as astrologers? My goal is to show you step by step. So our first question, we know there's a few different parts we need to answer, right? Quantum astrology and the natal promise is this examination. All right? The observer effect and the natal promise. So let's give our introduction, which is the quantum observer and astrological practice. The intersection of quantum physics and astrology offers a revolutionary framework for understanding how natal charts manifest. The observer effect, the principle that the act of observation collapses quantum probability waves into discrete particles, provides a powerful metaphor for astrological interpretation. In this essay, I will demonstrate how the native's chart, particularly her Pisces stellium, Moon-Mars square, and Rahu placement, can be understood through this quantum lens, and how conscious observation becomes the mechanism by which infinite potentiality condenses into manifested reality. So part A is the Pisces stellium, remember? This quantum field of infinite potential, and that's 8 marks of the grade. The native's Pisces stellium in the 11th house comprises 4 planets: Sun at 8 degrees 09 Mercury, at 18 degrees 31 Venus, at 0 degrees 02, and Uranus at 6 degrees 50. This concentration creates what quantum field theory would describe as a region of heightened probability amplitude, a zone where multiple wave functions overlap and interfere, generating an infinite array of potential manifestations. Let's look at the quantum nature of Pisces. Well, Pisces is ruled by Neptune and Jupiter. It's a sign of dissolution, where boundaries blur and the individual consciousness merges with the collective. In quantum terms, Pisces represents the unobserved field, the realm of pure potential before measurement collapses it into form. The native sun, which is the core identity in Pisces, means her very essence exists in the superpositional state. She is simultaneously every possibility until she observes herself into being. So the 11th house placement is critical. This house governs hopes, wishes, networks, and collective consciousness, the quantum entanglement between self and humanity. When 4 planets occupy this house in Pisces, the native becomes a node where the collective unconscious Pisces interfaces with collective aspiration, which is the 11th house. The 4 planets as quantum operators. So we look at our planet degree function in the quantum field. We know that Sun's at 8 degrees 09, the observer consciousness center. Mercury's at 18 degrees 31, the information carrier measurement device. Venus at 0 degrees 02, the resonance frequency attractor field. And Uranus at 6 degrees 50, the quantum jump operator discontinuity generator. So, Sun at 8 degrees 09 Pisces serves as the primary observer. In quantum mechanics, the observer need not be conscious. Any measurement apparatus suffices. However, in this native's chart, her conscious self-awareness, the sun, is the instrument that collapses her Piscean potential into tangible form. Before she observes her own gifts, they remain in wave form, infinite, but unrealized. Mercury at 18 degrees 31 acts as the information carrier. In quantum experiments, information transfer is what creates entanglement. Mercury's position indicates that our thoughts, words, and communications are the medium through which she measures and collapses reality. So every time she writes, speaks, or thinks a thought, she's performing a quantum measurement on her own potential. Now, Venus at 0 degrees 02 Pisces, which is a critical degree, represents the resonance frequency, the specific vibrational mode that attracts manifestation. Venus at 0 degrees indicates new beginnings in values, relationships, and aesthetics. This placement suggests that what she values, which is Venus, will determine which probability waves collapse. If she values wealth, wealth waves collapse. If she values healing, healing waves collapse. Uranus at 6 degrees 50 is the quantum jump operator, responsible for discontinuous transitions between states. Uranus in the stellium means her manifestations will not follow linear progression. Instead, she will experience sudden breakthroughs, unexpected opportunities, and what appear to be miracles, but are actually quantum leaps between probability states. All right, now we observe the conscious awareness collapsing potential. So when the native becomes consciously aware of the stellium, which she already is, when she understands that she is a living quantum field generator, she begins to intentionally collapse probability waves, for example. Without observation, she experiences vague creative urges, diffuse empathy, scattered ideas, and difficulty focusing. Her Pisces energy manifests as overwhelm or escapism. With observation, she sits daily and observes her thoughts, Mercury, feelings, Venus, and intuitive flashes, Uranus. She writes them down, Mercury measurement. She then chooses one to manifest. Sun is the observer, and the act of choosing collapses the wave function, and the chosen potential becomes particle, whether it's a business idea, a piece of art, or a healing modality. And the specific manifestation example, her sensory sage startup idea exists as a probability wave in her 11th house field. By observing it, writing the business plan, telling one person, setting a launch date, she collapses that wave into the startup's first incarnation. The more precisely she observes detailed planning, the more defined the particle becomes. All right, now we observe Moon in Libra, and it's squaring Mars in Capricorn, and that's quantum entanglement, 7 marks. All right, so the Moon in Libra at 6 degrees 14 in the 6th house, squaring Mars in Capricorn at 14 degrees 07 in the 9th house, represents a quantum entangled pair. Two systems that cannot be described independently because they are correlated at the quantum level. So we look at the nature of the entanglement. In quantum entanglement, measuring one particle instantaneously affects its entangled partner, regardless of distance. Similarly, in the square, any observation of the native's emotional state, Moon, immediately affects her actions, Mars, and vice versa. The square aspect, 90 degrees, creates tension precisely because the systems are inseparably linked, but out of phase. So Moon in Libra, in the 6th house, the Moon represents emotional nature, unconscious habits, and the feeling body. In Libra, emotions are processed through relationship, harmony, and aesthetics. The 6th house placement adds a dimension of service, work, and daily routines. Her emotional equilibrium depends on balanced work relationships and harmonious service to others. Mars in Capricorn in the 9th house. So Mars represents action, desire, and aggression. In Capricorn, action is disciplined, ambitious, and structured. The 9th house placement adds dimensions of philosophy, travel, higher education, and long-term vision. Her actions are driven by ambitious goals and philosophical frameworks. Now we look at the square. Indicates that these two systems are phase shifted by 90 degrees. They are orthogonal in quantum phase space. This means they cannot simultaneously achieve maximum coherence. So when emotional harmony peaks, Libra Moon, ambitious action may dip. When disciplined action peaks, Capricorn Mars, emotional harmony may suffer. Choosing which probability wave collapses. The quantum insight is that this entanglement is not a problem to be solved, but a resource to be managed. By consciously observing either pole, the native influences both. And we have a few scenarios. So scenario A is collapsing the relationship harmony wave. If she observes her Moon, focuses on emotional needs, relationship harmony, work-life balance, the Mars wave collapses into a state that supports this, perhaps taking action that protects her peace, setting boundaries at work, or choosing gentle ambition over ruthless drive. This might manifest as turning down a lucrative but stressful contract to maintain emotional equilibrium. Scenario B, collapsing the ambitious action wave. If she observes her Mars, focuses on career goals, disciplined action, long-term vision, the Moon wave collapses into a state that supports this, perhaps emotional satisfaction derived from achievement, pride in her work, or finding relationship harmony within professional contexts. This might manifest as pushing through isolation to build her business, trusting that emotional fulfillment will follow success. And scenario C, conscious superposition. The most advanced quantum strategy is to hold both in superposition, to simultaneously observe both the Moon and Mars without forcing collapse. This is the state of the enlightened entrepreneur who acts with full ambition while maintaining inner peace. It's difficult, but possible through practices that honor both poles. Disciplined work, Mars, that serves others, Moon, or emotional healing work, Moon, that she monetizes, Mars. All right. Now, practical application for the native. So her Moon-Mars square manifests as tension between serving others because of 6th house Moon and pursuing her own ambitious vision, 9th house Mars. So in her startups, this could appear as wanting to offer her services for free. Moon in Libra, serving others while needing to charge for sustainability, Mars in Capricorn, ambition. Feeling guilty about self-promotion, Moon seeks harmony while knowing she must market herself, Mars demands action. Desiring collaborative partnerships, Moon in Libra, while needing solitary focus to build, Mars in Capricorn, alone. Excuse me. By recognizing these are entangled quantum states rather than oppositional forces, she can design business models that honor both So subscription models that serve many, Moon, while generating reliable income, Mars, or creating content in solitude, Mars, that reaches community, Moon. Alright, we're going to observe this and then, yeah, I'm going to go through a few other things. Okay, so, North Node in Aries, the future self of being an observer, alright? So Rahu is in Aries, meaning, well, not just in Aries, but it's also in the 12th house. So, it introduces the quantum concept of retrocausality, the idea that future events can influence the past. Quantum mechanics, certain interpretations allow for time-symmetric causation, where future measurements affect present states. And of course, we look at the North Node as the future self. So astrologically, Rahu represents the evolutionary direction, the future self we are growing towards. Typically, we think of this as a destination we move toward linearly. However, retrograde motion suggests something more quantum. The future self is reaching backward through time to influence the present. So the native's Rahu in Aries in the 12th house. Well, Aries represents independence, courage, self-assertion, and qualities she's meant to develop. So the 12th house represents solitude, spirituality, and the unconscious, the realm where time is nonlinear. And of course, this retrograde motion indicates that this future self, which is courageous, independent, assertive, already exists and is transmitting guidance backward to our present self. All right. So just based on the chart in general, like as a daily quantum observation ritual, we use the Taurus ascendant, which is grounding, to consciously collapse the Pisces 11th house probability waves into tangible wealth manifestations. Grounding the infinite. So for example, daily, during the planetary hour of Venus, Friday, or Jupiter, Thursday, ideally at sunrise, 6 through 7 a.m. local time, Venus rules Taurus ascendant, and Jupiter rules the Pisces sun, traditional ruler. So 33 minutes, 3 plus 3 equals 6, number of Venus. 33 is master number for manifestation. In quiet space with earth elements, plants, crystals, clay, and water elements, small fountain bowl of water to honor Taurus, earth, and Pisces water. In the ritual components, we have grounding for 8 minutes, sitting cross-legged on bare earth or a natural fiber mat, holding a piece of green jade or emerald Taurus stones in each hand. Breathe deeply, visualizing roots growing from her base into the earth, and chanting softly Om Priti Vi Nama, salutations to the earth goddess 11 times. Feeling the Taurus ascendant anchoring the physical body in present reality. And this grounds the observer, the consciousness, in a stable reference frame from which to observe probability waves without being overwhelmed by them. Alright. So now I want to give that conclusion, which is, as an astrologer, regardless, the role is not to predict a fixed future, but to illuminate the quantum field someone already inhabits. The stars don't determine, they describe the probability landscape, so her consciousness, focused through daily observation rituals, is the measurement device that collapses that landscape into lived reality. Alright, now let's observe in my next video. We're going to go over the second question, which is non-locality and synchronicity in chart synthesis. Alright, hope to see you there with peace and love. Subscribe, like, and comment.